This is In the Dirt with ASOTU.
All right, we're here with the man of the hour, master of ceremonies. Your brother called you the cruise ship director, Brian Pasch.
Yes, it feels like that.
So we're here at Modern Retail Conference. It's the first year of the
newly
rebrand.
named.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and people are loving it.
I got to say, I've been to a few of these events, which used to be AAAS and DMSC, and there's just a buzz in the air around this one.
Yeah, the weather's perfect. We
True.
missed the
That
big
helps.
storm.
That helps.
But the content this year seems to be converging on a few themes, and people are really appreciative of the candor, just the honesty of the speakers and the content.
Yeah. The themes that are converging all have to do with acronyms, and
Right. And we don't need any more of those.
we went through attribution like 4 years ago.
Well, you were kind enough to take one letter off of the conference.
Right, I
Contribute
did.
back.
Yeah, just 3 letters max.
3 letters max. So there's a lot, that you have done in the GA4 world, which is Google Analytics 4, and that's a major part of the conversation. I think, at least on the technical side, a major part of the conversation is CDPs, right?
Right.
And so I think that there's a lot circling around that, but then there's also these 2 other tracks, and that's what I think is really interesting that you brought in, which is one is an HR track, which I'm sad I haven't gotten to go to because it's been all at the same time as the creative track that we've been a part of. So
and
it's
that's been well attended, the creative track, and Glenn said, let's do HR. He thought that was important. He has a passion for leadership and employee development. And both of you are really leading the automotive industry and rethinking what, creativity does for the dealer's brand, its brand value, and its future sustainability. And so, I think the diverse tracks that we have 5, distinct tracks aside from the general sessions, is what we were missing. I think, Paul, in previous years, I think that's why there's a little bit more buzz, a little bit more diversity of thought and people and ideas.
We just sat with Ed Roberts,
Right.
who you have a high-performing store, a high-performing COO that was actually brought his creatives and some salespeople, whatever they called it. Do you remember?
so she's a senior client advisor. They
Client
call all of
advisor.
our salespeople client advisors, which is
Right.
very
very Lincoln.
It's Lincoln. It's Walzer and Schomp kind of led
Right.
the
Or
way on that.
like a financial institution,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
It's like
Absolutely.
we have clients.
Yes,
We
we
have
have
clients.
customers, we have
advise them.
clients, right?
We advise
And the point of that being, they were all in some of the same sessions, and there's this push to encourage, and I hope that this spreads. We talk about this a lot, that you have to try it and do it the wrong way, so that you can do it the right way.
That's right. I think we heard from the Toyota team on the main stage that, their success with SmartPath is we're going to get it wrong, but we're going to be quick to pivot and iterate, and we want everyone's feedback. And the success was bring the whole team to the table. So they brought their salespeople, and they brought their desk managers, and they brought the executives in the back office, and everyone in this process mapping. And I wonder if we've been too siloed inside the dealership, that the creatives are in some meetings, the salespeople are in some meetings, the tech people in other meetings, and how are you going to really transform the dealership if we're not benefiting from the emotional intelligence, social intelligence that could be captured if everyone brought together.
And the holistic approach, because when you have people that are passionate about their lane, right? It's very easy for passionate people in their lane to just want to believe that their lane is the one that's going to win the race, when really you need somebody that understands all the lanes, and you need them to understand the other lane as well.
sure.
Right? We see this if you just take marketing, you have data and you have creative, and then they both think that that's going to win. Right? You have the creatives being like, if we only have the lighting right, right? If we only do this, then the coloring, the video is just going to make it. That's not true, right? And then the data folks are like, yo, we can make this work without any creative.
Right.
And you're like, it's just going to be a lot harder, right? You could try to make it work, but you're going to pay for that in ad budget.
Sure. And I think without having the creative element before in our conferences, I would say, if you have to look in the mirror and be self-aware, or say, we probably were helping dealers think it was more about data and tech instead of the marriage of brand message, brand creativity? Is it resonating? And I loved your example yesterday when you're on the stage about the rock in the river, I think that I've actually promoted a lot of thinking is like you just spend, maybe not the big boulder, but you throw it in, you make a splash, and instead of thinking about content and your marketing is moving along the river, along the path, and that boulder analogy, hit me. It was like, wow, maybe we really need to rethink the marriage and the cooperation between creatives and the marketing team.
I think, and that's something that's really easy to miss. Again, because you think of the legacy thinking of this industry so long, it's been going so far, right? Yeah. And so it's easy to just not even consider, which is why there's so much advocacy from our end on like, let's look outside of automotive and like CPG, consumer packaged goods. You look at them and I believe they really understand creative and data and how that translates to sales. Long term.
For sure. And that's where John Clavadasher, he left cars. He went into the CPG in cooler screens.
Yeah.
And he learned, he was like, oh my God, these consumer products companies
They got it down.
They have a CDP and they're really creative with their marketing and they're using data the right way and everything is tracked and everything is in one place. And now he comes back to automotive with, the knowledge of automotive.
Sure.
The knowledge of the consumer packaging industry. And now he's like, I can't unsee it.
Right.
So helpful.
We have to pivot and not just like curve around the corner. Like, I got to pivot hard.
Skirt. Right. Yeah. Like course correct. Big time.
For sure.
And I think heading into 2023, there's no need to like pull the eject cord, right, on what we've been doing. I don't think that's the encouragement for many of us. But it is like, hey, there's a pivot necessary in a lot of ways and even like recognizing that some of the ways that OEMs are moving is not, if you approach it with a pivot mentality instead of like a defense mentality, you actually get the opportunity to meet them in this stream of where they're headed and really be an advocate for a partnership. And I think brands like Audi and Toyota are really advocating for how that's working. And I'm glad that they've been here at the conference because those brands that can merge with pivoting dealerships that recognize that the tier 3 dealership needs to pivot are going to be the most successful brands.
Yeah, and we invite more OEMs to come out and join the discussion. That's the most important thing. These are two brands that said we had active discussions with our dealers. We're not the smartest people with software development, but we can develop something that really works with the technology partners we have, with the dealer input, and we're hearing these success stories. And then the opposite is more of drop a bomb into the dealer network and say, by the way, we've just decided that this is the product that's going to meet everyone's needs.
Right.
Different approach.
Yeah. I
don't understand that approach when collaboration, in most cases, right, across multiple disciplines is the way to get things done.
Yeah.
So a lot of things are moving, shaking, right? You're getting a lot of things going. GA4 is just this whole other beast of an animal that's just doing its thing. What is your big trajectory for 2023? Like, where do you see the big wins shaping up?
Sure. For me personally, I have to become an expert on the CDP platforms in automotive. I think having some research out, like here are the players, here's what their platforms do, here are the strengths and weaknesses. I need to do that for my own agency because I'm going to have to start partnering with CDP platforms to help and do what's right for the dealers.
Yep.
To see GA4 rolled out in its full capabilities and to get the dealer community behind it. It was so awesome to see Dustin Lesser from Dealer On and Ryan Shreve from Dealer Inspire and Colleen Harris from Synchro and Brooke Furness all working together. Could be considered competing companies,
right?
Co-teaching, co-nurturing this spec. So next year, CDP, GA4, and I think really pushing the connected retailing message and trying to get dealers to go all in on one platform that is the same online and in the store. If I could make significant headway in these three areas, that would be really good for 2023. Well,
Brian, we always appreciate the way you fight to keep the industry together, and you kind of have a fun time telling the truth too.
I do.
In a
I
way,
have fun.
and you do it in a way where you're like, yeah, he's kind of right. That hurt a little bit, but he's kind of right. So thanks for spending a few minutes, and certainly thanks for having us here.
Thanks for being here at the show.
Yeah. Thanks for watching this episode of In the Dirt with ASOTU. If you're new to our channel, make sure and mash that like and subscribe button. Also, check out some of these links for our other great podcasts and content.